Hey YouTube, today we're going to learn how to create variation style listings within your TurboLister program. So the first thing you're going to do is create a new item. You'll want to keep in mind that you cannot revise active items to include variations if they did not originally have variations to begin with. So if it's a non-variation listing, you cannot change it to a variation listing. You also want to keep in mind that not every category allows for variations. Certain categories, when you put them in there, they will not show the variation availability in the details section, and that's because they flat out don't allow for variations. So we'll go ahead and put in a test category. Now you'll see under details there is no variation area. But if your category does allow for variations, say clothing, or shoes, you can see here it allows variations. Now to actually start your variations, you're going to click Create Variations, and you'll put in your variations. So maybe you just have different sizes of an item, maybe you have size and color. So if it's just a singular size, that's going to be easy enough. You just go ahead and put in your different sizes that are here, and then you're going to click Next.
Yeah.
It'll take you to your item specifics window.
Yeah.
You can put in the brand, because these are required. Anything with the green star are required. And if they're the same color, you can go ahead and fill color in. If you were doing a variation for color, you would not fill in color here. So let's just say white, and we'll go to Next. If you had a custom label for the listing itself, not necessarily the variation level, but just a custom label for the item itself, you can put that there. And maybe you want your variations to have custom labels. So from here, you're going to select your shoe size.
Double-click your icon.
The order that you set up your variations here are how they're going to show up on the website. We'll just do does not apply because I don't want to put random UPCs in here. Your quantity and your price. So as you can see, each line item is its own variation. Go Next. And you can do, this is your gallery picture. You can also do individual pictures for your variations. Now typically, if you're just changing the size, you don't need to include different images. It's really only going to be if you have other distinctions such as color. And there we go. And then it gives you the chance to look over your variations to make sure they're fine. And when you're done, you click Done. Now as you can see up here, it grays out your buy it now price and the quantity because that was set within the variations themselves. You can of course continue to change your duration, things of that nature. But if you had to fix your pricing or quantity, you would have to go in to edit variations. Now with TurboLister, you can actually do a sell similar or duplicate items that have variations, and let's say that they're going to be different variations. So there's a couple different ways that you could do this. If we decided that we wanted to add color later, we could come back and edit variations. We'll use the back button to get to that first page when we created the variations. Okay. Generally, it would populate that color as well, but since it didn't, we'll go ahead and create our own. So let's say that we have these sizes and we also have them in these colors. So now we have two variation, size and color. Click next. This information is going to remain the same in that sense. Now here we have to fill out the both size and color. So let's say that we have this blue for all of these sizes. So you would have to do blue all the way down because I have blue in both 5, 5.5, 6, and 7. Perhaps I also have, just two sizes for white. Maybe I have 3 of the sizes for red, and I just have 1 size for black, let's say. So the way this has to be set up is that every variation combination that you have would need to be included in this table.
Okay, so go to the tool.
And again, you don't have to use custom labels with the variations. You can if you want to. And I'll be setting my price. So what this means is that I have 1 pair of shoes in the color blue for the size 5, 1 pair of the 5.5, 1 pair blue 6, 1 pair blue 7, 1 pair white 5. Sorry about that. But I have 2, let's say, of the white 5.5s, and I have 5 of the red 5s. So you see how that works. Any kind of combination you have, you put down here, you change up your quantity there. Click next. Now, if you wanted to change the variation picture, right now it's defaulting to shoe size, you can click Change Variation and select which of your variations you want the images to reflect. So we'll change it to color. So if I had a pair of blue shoes, I would want to insert an image that reflected the blue shoes, or the white shoes, or the red shoes, or the black shoes. And that's because when someone uses a variation listing and they select a color, whatever picture is associated with that color will then show up in the gallery image section. For now, we're just going to go ahead and leave those blank. Again, you can check out your variations here, make sure your quantities are all correlating to the correct size and color, and click Done.
I don't do much, but I prefer to watch.
Now, something I want to keep in mind with variations is that even though you might have different variations with different weights, let's say, you cannot change up your sizing accordingly. So basically what you're going to want to do, if you have an item that weighs 1 pound and you have one that weighs 2 pounds, you're basically going to want to put your weight in at the higher weight that you have here. And that's because otherwise you'll be losing money. You'll be actually eating that shipping cost because you cannot set a specific weight per variation. It'd be great if eBay allowed that, but so far that's not built into the way the site is run.
Yep, this update.
Something else to keep in mind about variations is you only get 1 description per listing. You cannot have different item specifics, different descriptions every time somebody toggles between variations within a listing. It's all going to be specific to the listing itself, not the minutia of the variations. So one final thing, if you wanted to completely redo the variation section, but say you liked the description maybe, or you liked everything else about the listing, the variations needed to be different, you could click Edit Variations, and generally this is going to be when you're creating new product. You click Edit Variations, you can select Remove Variations, and click OK, and that removes the variations completely. So maybe you just wanted to list a singular listing, you only have 1 item, let's say, you can change it for buy it now price, but your description would remain the same, your shipping would remain the same, unless you changed it. But that's how you would completely remove the variations. Or, conversely, if you wanted to just remove the variations and start over with new variations, you could do that as well. So the key takeaways here are that variations are category specific. Not every category includes variations. You cannot revise a currently active item to include variations if it didn't start out that way, nor can you relist an item and add variations. It has to start out with variations in order to manipulate variations on any iteration of that item. Keep watching for more videos on how to build your eBay arsenal.